Hi guys, Kelly here. Today I'm bringing you a hip yin class. So yin is going to be all about stretching, it's all about restorative. We're not going to get up and do any flows, no strength necessary here. But it can be a bit of a mental challenge to hold poses for a few minutes, especially ones that are trying to open up really tight parts of our body. So to make this a little bit easier on myself when I practice yin or restorative yoga, I like to get very cozy. So I put on like a big sweater, I got my super fuzzy socks on, and I like to just get like pillows and blankets and just surround myself with a bunch of my stuff, just so that mentally I am comfortable and physically my body is doing a lot of the work. So for this one, you'll need possibly a pillow or a bolster and 2 blocks or books if you don't have blocks, and a strap. And if you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf or a belt instead. But if you are serious about continuing a yoga practice, I definitely recommend going out and getting these props. They are very, very useful. Okay, so for our first pose, a lot of what happens in our outer hips especially is related to our low back. So a lot of times I hear people who are like, oh gosh, my back hurts. I'm like, well, are your hips tight? Because maybe it's your hips that's the issue and it's just causing a tight low back. So our first pose that we're going to do is going to be supported bridge, and you'll want one of your blocks and potentially a pillow to rest your head on. So you'll go ahead and lie back. Bend your knees and plant your feet about hips distance apart. And then you'll either want your block on the lowest height or the medium height. So the higher that you bring your block, the more intense of an opening you're going to feel. And we'll be here for a few minutes. I'm not going to time, I'm just going to kind of feel what's good in my own body. So if you need to come out of a pose before I do, or if you want to stay longer, then by all means do what feels good for you. Hey Walter, what are you doing? Alright, so feet are planted about hips distance apart, shoulders are firmly on the mat, and the head can be resting on a pillow. And you'll want to tuck your pelvis under so the pubic bone pulls towards the sternum, and that will help to lift the hips. And then you'll wiggle your block underneath your low back, so it's at like your pant line, like the top of your pants. And then glutes will be hanging off, and you'll just allow the glutes, the thighs, the legs to just sort of relax here. And really feel like your center of gravity, all of your weight, is dropping down into the block and releasing. Now if you're comfortable here, you can stay here. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you feel balanced on the block, you can pull the knees in towards the chest and then extend the legs up into the air. And as you extend and reach the legs up, there is a sort of dropping, like dead weight almost, back onto the block, and this will help to intensify the opening. This also helps to open up the hamstrings as well. You can close your eyes. Just really focus the breath in and out of the nose. We're about halfway there, so if you want to bring the feet down or bring the feet up if they were down, or just the height of your block, either bring it up a level or down a level. I've got just about 10 more breath here. So if the legs are up, go ahead and bring them down, plant the feet. Again, tuck the pelvis under, engage the core to lift the hips, remove the block, and slowly let the vertebrae roll down to the ground. Pull the knees gently into the chest and rock from side to side. Go ahead and bring your left foot down to the ground, flex your right toes, and then cross the right ankle over the left knee, and then push this right knee off away from the face. Keep the right knee pushing away as you engage the core to pull the left thigh in towards the chest. Thread the needle. Make sure the low back stays on the ground. You're not pulling yourself up too far. If this is too intense, but keeping the foot on the ground isn't intense enough, then grab a block or two and place it underneath your left foot. Because this will now start to lift the foot, obviously, away from the ground and a little bit closer to the face without lifting completely off of the earth. Okay? So you can stay here, or again, you've got the knee pulling into the chest. If you want to go a bit deeper, you can lift or extend rather the left leg straight up to the sky. Grab hold of the right foot with the left hand and the right knee with the right hand, and then pull the right shin into the chest. And if you've got the flexibility, you can sort of wrap the knee and the foot into the elbow creases here on the right leg. Hi, Walter. You want to stretch with me? And then, if this is enough and you want to go deeper, you can slowly, Walter, start to extend the left leg all the way down to the earth. Straight or bent. So now you're sort of hugging the shin into the chest rather than pulling the left knee and using the left knee to pull the right leg in. This variation here, if you've got the right foot and shin, is called sleeping pigeon. About 10 more breaths halfway through. If you need to adjust, then please do. Two more breaths here. Nice and easy, release whatever position you're in. I like to extend my legs out, shake them out a little bit. And we'll go right into the second side. So plant the right foot down, flex the left toes, cross the ankle over the right knee, and then push the left knee away from the face. You can stay here or bring a block underneath the right foot to help lift if you need just a subtle intensity, or pull the right thigh in towards the chest. Keep the left toe flexed, keep the left knee pushing away. And then if you want to go deeper, you can extend the right leg up. Grab hold of the left foot and the left knee. Drop the right leg down or bend the knee and plant the foot. And I suggest taking as close to the same variation as you can that you did on the first side. So our bodies are always tighter on one side than the other, but you'll want to remain as similar on each side as possible. So you don't want to be going into the most intense stretch on the right side and then doing the least intense on the left side, and that will cause such an imbalance in the body. So for me here, the left side is my tighter side. I'm not able to completely encompass my shin in my elbow creases, but I'm still pulling on this left foot and knee as close into my chest as possible. And we're halfway through the hold. What's great about Yin is as you hold the poses, more channels and doorways start to open up for you through the body, which I love, because if I can hold poses like this for 5 minutes, by the end of the 5 minutes, I can bring my leg much closer into my chest. So 30 seconds minimum on these stretches if you're doing them at home. But as long as 5 to 10, really. If you've got the time and you're feeling especially tight, the longer you sit in the pose, the more open you're going to feel when you leave it. So that being said, during the time that we spend here, if you need to make minor adjustments, if you can feel like you can go a little bit deeper, then definitely explore those areas that are opening for you. 2 more breaths. Slowly release in whatever way that feels comfortable, extending the legs or pulling the knees into the chest. Alrighty. Go ahead and roll over to your right side. Gently push yourself up. We're going to come into a broken pigeon pose. So, our left shin will be forward. Actually, I may need this pillow. Left shin will be forward. Parallel to the top of the mat, toes are flexed. Right leg goes back at about a 90-degree angle. So I'm in sort of like a cheerleader-esque position here. But both knees 90 degrees, both toes flexed. And the part of the foot that's pushing, or that's on the earth, is sort of pressing in and down into the ground. And that will help to kind of pull the knees in more towards the midline and create a buoyancy through the pelvic floor. So it's a very minute expression. Like right now I'm not doing it, but now I'm doing it. Not doing it, doing it. So it sort of like lifts me up a little bit more. And this action keeps that muscular strength as we start to spin this right hip down and in, and the heart moves forward. Forearms can come down to the ground. If that is too intense, then please stay up on your hands. You can also have your blocks if you're in that sort of in-between stage where hands feels like too less of a stretch, but the forearms feels like too much. And then here again, if you really want to intensify, left hand will reach forward, right hand goes underneath the left arm and reaches off to the left. And maybe you stay up with the head, maybe you bring a block and can bring your right temple down to the block or right temple to the earth. Now that we're moving a little bit deeper into the hips, it's going to feel very easy to squeeze the glutes, to squeeze the inner thighs, and to hold some tension and strength in the hip area. Try not to do that. So as I get into these poses, especially on the side, since my left side is tighter, I feel everything start to tighten and contract and engage. And I really have to take a couple exhales where it's like, okay, it's okay, muscles, you can release. Just release, melt into it. Just about 5 more breaths here. And you'll gently walk your hands back. Now you're going to swing this, lean over to the left side and swing the right foot forward. Bring the right heel, or right ankle to the left knee. And we're going to take stacked logs. So as you can see here, my right knee is lifted quite a bit from my foot, and I'll turn towards the front too. We want to keep the left shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. And if you're lifted here, no big deal. If you've got your block or pillows around you, you can place between the two. Now you physically have something to kind of press into to help open. If you don't want that, fine, you can leave it up, no big deal. Just make sure that you don't pull this left foot in to make this right knee go down a little bit deeper. You're not going to get any hip opening sitting like this. So keep this left shin, left foot forward. The full expression of the pose is when both knees and ankles hit, and now it looks like my legs are stacked logs. You can stay seated up tall if this is too much for you. Then I definitely recommend sitting up tall. If you want to go deeper, hands can reach out in front of you. Maybe the forearms and elbows come down. Maybe you drop your head in. Okay, but whatever is most comfortable for you here. Couple breaths. Got 10 more breaths halfway through the hold. Last breath. Gently walk yourself back up. Fingertips behind you, lean back to lift the legs off of one another and extend them out in front of you. You can do a little shake. I like to press down on the tops of my thighs and sort of roll out. And that helps to release in my legs and my body. Alright, let's do second side. So right shin will be parallel to the top edge of the mat. Left leg goes behind at a 90-degree angle as well. And then again, the part of the foot that's pressing into the earth, you're going to press down and towards one another. So pulling the feet towards one another, knees towards one another to help create a lift. And then from that lift, rotate the outer left hip down and in. Come into onto hands or onto forearms. Now, broken pigeon is what I call this. Staying here, or right hand reaches ahead, and left arm sweeps underneath, and a little bit of a spinal twist here as well. But again, we're trying to find a pose that is as similar and as close to what we did on the first side, on our more open side, I want to say rather, so that we create a balance in the body. 2 more breaths. And come back up onto the hands. Lean over to the right a bit. Left leg comes up and forward. And left knee on top of, or left ankle rather, on top of the right knee for stacked logs. And again, blocker pillow underneath the left knee if it's lifted. Again, no big deal if it's not. You're just a little bit tighter. This is actually a great way for you to track your progress. So maybe you do this video a couple times a week, and then next week you don't need you don't need 2 pillows, you only need 1 pillow. So even though the props, they sometimes feel like a hindrance to people, I like to look at it as a way to track my progress by taking props away. So here, and I even like to, even though my knee is lifted and this is my tighter side, I don't like to have anything between, just because I put a little extra weight, like I sort of lean over to this left side into the left knee, and take a few breaths, see what that feels like, and then I'll like kind of release and push back. But I did used to have a pillow here that I would kind of like press into. The only reason why I don't do that so much anymore is that the pillow or the block will kind of push you back a little bit. So if you're ready to go deeper into the pose and you're pushing into the pillow and it's giving you something to resist, then you're not going to get as deep into it as you might want to. So that's just my reasoning behind it. You guys can do whatever you want. Let's take 10 more breaths here. And if these mentally are very challenging for you, if holding these poses for longer than a couple breaths creates sort of a resistance in the body, it's weird, but what isn't weird that I do, right? What I like to do, I'll take like a deep inhale and imagine like those muscles that I'm opening like inflate, and then when I exhale I think yum or like some sort of delicious noise, so that it's like your body can't resist when you're going like and ah. So if you want to do that, join along. You're in the privacy of your own home, so you won't embarrass yourself the way that I am right now. Let's take 2 more breaths. And good, reaching back. Lean back. Legs feel light and lift, extend. Shake it up. Alright, so we'll go ahead and lie on our backs once again. Bring the feet as wide as the mat and the knees bent. Arms can cactus or reach out wide, whatever you have space for. And then just nice and easy, keeping the feet where they are. We're going to windshield wiper the knees. So dropping both the knees to the right and to the left. And for the first couple, just allow the weight of the legs to move the spine back and forth, to move the hips back and forth. And once the movement feels a little more comfortable and natural, what I want you to do as we're dropping legs to the left, push a little bit more into that right knee so that the back arches. And then come back up to center. You can inhale, center. Exhale, drop the knees to the right. Little extra push in that left knee. See, I'm doing it. Inhale, come back up. I'm umming an I. And exhale, drop to the left. One more to the right. And back to center. Pull the knees into the chest. Drop them over to the right. Rest here for a moment. And go ahead and push yourself up to seated. Now, you can always take a Shavasana at the end of your yin or restorative practice. But this is where I'm going to leave you today. I hope your hips are a little bit happier. Thank you guys for joining me. Namaste.